Oh.
Welcome to the Revolution with Michael Fanone and Maya May. Mike, we got a new show. What's up?
We do. I'm super excited about this this show. It's I think it puts up both of our unique perspectives and talents to work. For those of you who've been following Maya and myself through our different versions of programming. We went from calling out the Trump administration's many crimes, but we're looking for
solutions,
an opportunity that was solution based. Exactly.
Yeah.
An opportunity to platform people who are out there fighting the good fight and who are taking on and tackling this administration in the hopes that we can garner some support for them and maybe create some copycats across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that the algorithm loves rage and they want us to be angry all the time. But if we're not thinking critically, we're not able to come to these solutions. And so we're going to try to get this positive stuff out into the universe. And so without further ado, our first guest, our inaugural guest, very excited to have her, Skye Perryman. She is the founder and president at Democracy Forward, which is an organization that is doing amazing litigation work across the country. Skye, welcome to the Revolution. You were at a cool event last night.
Oh, I was. Well, I was supporting a cool event. We've been supporting a cool event in Waco, Texas last night. The students there did an amazing job at Baylor University planning an event called All Our Neighbors, which was an event that was on campus to welcome all people. And it was really important because Turning Point was on campus that same day.
How did this come together?
Well, the university approved student organizations inviting of Turning Point to the university. And, you expect universities to invite all voices. So, I mean, the decision caused some backlash because at Baylor, historically, not all students have been able to invite the types of speakers they want. And in particular, LGBTQ students at Baylor have not been able to form advocacy organizations that enable them to advocate for LGBTQ rights. But the students that we've been supporting, I mean, they did a great job. They organized among themselves 5 student groups, including the Baylor NAACP, Texas Rising, Students Demand, and they filed a petition to have Kelly Robinson, the head of the Human Rights Campaign, Paul Rauschenbusch, the head of the Interfaith Alliance, and other speakers come and do this event. And using the push and pull that happens as people push back, they got the university to approve it. And it was a beautiful event. Hundreds of students and faculty members, and really a contrast to what Turning Point was doing on campus.
Skye, I'm just curious. We've seen a decline in attendance at these TPUSA events nationwide in the past several months. What was the attendance like in contrast to
well, it's very, very interesting. So TPUSA had requested, they got the largest venue on campus, and the university accommodated them with that. It seated about 2,000 people. And what happened, and we saw what happened in Georgia last week. And by the way, today, the leader of Turning Point USA, Georgia, I believe, resigned as a result of what's going on there. So we got to go look that up. But basically, the attendance they thought was going to be very high. And for whatever reason, and we don't know, but in the middle of the day, Turning Point started saying they were not going to have any media at the event. They blamed that on Baylor University, but Baylor University issued a statement. They were not banning media from the event. And in fact, the alternative student event had whatever media, you just get credentialed and you go in. So it was business as usual on campus yesterday, but Turning Point, tried to cancel the media and ban the media and then wanted to blame it on someone else. And what we understand is that they had about 400 people attend. There were empty seats throughout the auditorium. They had curtained off the auditorium. The alternative event, we don't have a precise count because there were some issues with the scanner, but the room itself, they got a room that seated about 500 people at capacity. That was the room that was available because Turning Point, of course, had this big auditorium and got first preference because they requested first, and the event was standing room only. So we're really proud of the students, but also of, I think, just showing a different vision that, people don't need to come around, and they don't have to come around to build hate, that you can really come around to build love and do something pretty revolutionary. So it was a great.
And there does seem to be a battle for the youth of the nation right now. In particular, this holy war that the administration seems to want to push. What was the vibe like from the students? Because Baylor's traditionally a very, very, very Christian school.
Well, and that's really the vibe, was to say, we may all share a Christian faith. And this is what you'll see this in the reporting. But Christianity does not mean hating people. It doesn't mean targeting immigrants. It doesn't mean marking a group of people as ungodly because of who they are. And so Kelly Robinson, the president of HRC, she is a Black queer woman leading HRC, is a Catholic and still, identifies as Christian. Paul Rauschenbusch, the head of the Interfaith Alliance, is an American Baptist minister, an outwardly gay man who's married to, his husband and has 2 kids in New York City. And they spoke about their faith. And then one of the ministers that was in Minneapolis talked about the importance of loving our neighbor and showing up for people. And so you'll see a lot of coverage on it, but we're so proud of the students.
I love that. Was there curiosity on the part of the students who maybe were pro Turning Point, and they're going, oh, okay, maybe this, were you seeing any of that? Because I would just love to believe that minds were changed yesterday.
Well, I don't know if minds were changed, but the bottom line is because the issue is that Turning Point claims more minds than they actually have. And so I'm very proud of these students, but this was organic. This pushback was organic. The student paper at Baylor University, before alumni even knew about it, came out and said, we have a real problem that Turning Point's coming to our campus. That's what's happening in communities across the country. Now, I'm not going to minimize some of that far right extremism that we do see, and that we do see definitely the White House, groups like Turning Point trying to make a play for the youth and for young people. I'm not minimizing that, but the bottom line is that movement, that Turning Point movement, this far right movement, it wants you to believe that it has more power than it does. And so it was really important that at Baylor University in Waco, Texas, deep in the heart of Texas, the largest Baptist university in the world, you had students who organically came together and said, you know what, we can craft another way and show another way. And the event, was rocking. People were so excited to be there. And frankly, they had nothing to hide. They let the media in. Turning Point started banning the media and then trying to blame the university. And now there's a Breitbart story out saying that Baylor University tried to sabotage a Turning Point event, which is just not credible, but tells you kind of how I think the evening left.
I know, Mike, you're a big fan of Breitbart, right?
Yeah, they've written some incredible biopics about me.
Yes.
Very great journalism over there at Breitbart. No, but I think this is so important too, is because, I recently did a story on my YouTube show about how the left has kind of forgotten to engage with faith communities. And then as a result, we've seen, I guess at least the optics of success on behalf of groups like TPUSA, whose events appear to be well attended. I think a lot of that is just they've got really good multimedia people that make it look like they're well attended. But they have been able to engage with faith-based youth groups incredibly well. And so seeing an alternative to that, I think, is incredibly important. And then if you could just take a moment to tell me a little bit more about Democracy Forward and what your organization does and what your goals are.
Yeah, and let me just say before we get to Democracy Forward, you're right. And right now, it's not even about left versus right. It's really about, are we going to be about freedom and people thriving, or are we not? And I agree with you that folks that are affirming freedom, that want to see people thrive, that don't get bent out of shape over who somebody loves or what they look like, or what country they may have been born in, or where their parents may have been born, need to harness the community that is the community of faiths across the country, which will lead me into Democracy Forward, because one of the things we're doing at Democracy Forward is we are representing houses of worship, diverse religions across the country in litigation against the Trump-Vance administration because of the administration's, undermining of religious liberty, and the administration seeking to conduct enforcement operations in houses of worship, which is preventing people from being able to be in communal worship together. We've won 2 court orders to stop some of those practices. And that's just one example of a lot of cases that we have. So Democracy Forward is a national legal organization. We work in communities across the country. It doesn't matter how small your town is or how big your city is. We're there for you. We have staff across the country. The organization is principally a legal organization, meaning that we believe that conduct can be changed when you sue people. And we see it every single day. Well, we do a lot more, including the work we were doing on campuses, which I'll talk about. We do a lot more than going into court, but we are based in a core kind of incredible legal team that is nonpartisan. We will sue anybody, doesn't matter what letters behind their name, if they're violating your rights or if they're inhibiting the ability of people in this country to thrive. And so what that has meant since January of last year is that we've been in court every single day and some nights against the Trump-Vance administration. We filed hundreds of cases. We coordinate with many organizations that folks that are tuning in probably support, as well as the state AGs, and we are winning a lot. But we're also doing work at the state and local level. We've had to go in to protect libraries and librarians, public schools. So we do that work as well. But the Trump work is something that a lot of people are paying attention to right now because they just do unlawful things every day.
So many. I noticed you said Trump-Vance administration, and I like that. Is this a sort of pivot as we're starting to see that, I don't know, maybe Trump may kick the bucket any day now. Somebody's predicting it'll be tomorrow. Is this a way to sort of frame it that we're also fighting against J.D. Vance potentially?
We have been calling it the Trump-Vance administration since the beginning, and since the beginning of the administration, because that's what it is. And anybody that is aiding and abetting or participating in what very quickly became clear to the American people and is becoming more clear by the day, an administration that is trying to run roughshod over our rights, run roughshod over the collective project we have in this nation, to try to make it to where people can pursue happiness with themselves and in their communities and in their families, needs to be called out. And so we call it the Trump-Vance administration because that's what it is. We'd say that non-politically. Again, if their names were something else and they had other letters behind their names, we would be in court if they're trying to violate your rights. Like they do.
I love hearing all this. Mike, I know you're on college campuses quite a bit as well. Has the shift, and this is a question for you, Skye, has the shift because of the war and Trump sort of talking about this draft and possibly are students going, I don't want that. I don't want to go to war.
Seeing lots of activism from young students. And I'll say, in addition to being in court every day, we have an incredible team at Democracy Forward that's really all about building community, because community creates the conditions for courage. And in this moment, courage is the thing. I say courage is the new currency. In this moment, it's people that are willing to come together and step forward together, just like these students at Baylor did last night when it seems like the obstacles are insurmountable. And so we have a program called Campus Coffees for Change. And then we have another program called Dinners for Democracy that's all about people gathering together, building some community together. And we see incredible interest, curiosity, activism. And we saw that before the war in Iran. But yes, people are very concerned about what this war is going to do to their cost. I mean, these are students that are going to leave college without, with a lot of debt, with, an economy that is being harmed by the day by this war, but also by the threats and the rumblings around the draft.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's, you hit the nail on the head with with regards to engagement, because my experience has been completely different. When I show up on college campuses, typically the turnout is very low. And when I engage with students as to why the turnout is so low, they tell me it's because politics, obviously, we've all experienced now, has become so toxic that nobody wants to go to political events on campus, regardless of what side of the the political aisle they're affiliated with. They don't want to do that. They don't want to deal with it. They just want to have a good time. And so creating an environment that's all inclusive, but also is fun. Maybe not coming to listen to me for 2 hours talk is not exactly a college student's idea of a good time. Although I do cuss a lot and tell a lot of really dirty stories, but we got to make it fun, people. We got to create an environment that allows these students to come out to have a good time. Maybe not necessarily a politically inspired event that sprinkles in, the inclusive politics while you're there. But it's great to hear that you guys are experiencing good turnout and a lot of engagement.
But through this community, I mean, to be clear, through the community building, which we believe is essential to any, whether you want to call it a social movement, a political movement, a movement for freedom, whatever word you want to use, community is critical. And so our events have focus. It's not me coming to give a lecture about the Constitution. Happy to do it, but that's not what's causing this. It's people that can get together and create communities and meaning for themselves. And I'll tell you, the experience at Baylor was very interesting because the media and a lot of people started calling this event the counter turning point event. And in some ways, that's what it was, in the sense that they wanted to create a place where people felt safe and belonging, in some place they could go as this presence was coming on campus. But the students actually really wanted to focus on, this is an event about storytelling, about lifting voices, about being together, and about building community. So it's actually quite similar, Mike, to what you're saying that you're seeing. And I think some of our programming is really around that community building, making sure people have a place to belong. And then from that community and belonging, magical things will happen.
It's pretty magical that this was one of the first times, if not the first time, that there's been an LGBTQ plus outside speaker at Baylor. And I know I've heard that there's some pushback from the Texas Baptist Association that they want to break ties. Was this truly the first time? And does that itself represent a shift?
So it wasn't the first time that someone, obviously, that is gay or even openly gay has spoken on campus. It was the first time, and this is significant because of the policies we've been discussing. It was the first time that we know of that the university, and in fact, the first time, has had speakers that are advocates, that are professional advocates. I mean, Kelly Robinson runs in an amazing way the Human Rights Campaign, which is one of the leading LGBTQ equality and rights organizations in the country, right? And so it was the first time to have those types of speakers all at an event together, and it was really beautiful. And there's a lot of good stuff on social media and videos and stuff of the students and of Kelly and others talking about how historic it was. Now, the question about the Baptists, we could get real nuanced, and we don't have to do that. I'm not sure how many folks are interested in it, but of course, Baptists are, I grew up Baptist and a Baptist, but Baptists are an interesting lot in that there's a wide diversity of beliefs among Baptists, and that's sort of a feature, not a bug, of the denomination. And so there is a particular group of Baptists in Texas that are, that haven't really affirmed all people in terms of their equality, and that continue to maintain views about LGBTQ people. They maintain views about women in the church. If you want to roll the clock back, a few decades, few hundred years, you'll see they maintained a lot of views about Black people in the United States. And so just to be very clear about the origins of some of this, but that have had an association. They don't control the university, but that have had an affiliation with the university, and they are upset that the university actually, in this instance, did what a university is supposed to do. And I'm very proud of Baylor for this. I will hold my loved ones to account, and there are things where I want them to change some of their policies. But what they did here was really important because they acted like a university. They said Turning Point can come, but we're going to also let students have their event with other voices here. We don't have to agree with all the voices, but we can't pick and choose. That's a great thing for universities to do. It's a great thing for young people to be able to see and to participate in. And that's what happened yesterday.
Guess you could call it a turning point.
A turning point, Baylor's turning point. Yeah, it's a turning point.
Well, Skye, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, you can find so much information on Democracy Forward's website, including on community organizing and your
Go to the
dining
Get
group.
Involved tab. Go to the Get Involved tab and find it all. And also just sign up for our newsletter, because we sue people every day that are violating your rights. We win a lot more than we lose, and we want to have you part of the fight.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Skye. We'd love to have you back. So, Mike, we haven't had a chance to catch up, and there is so much going on. The war excursion seems to be on the top of everybody's mind. I don't even know where we're at with those things today. But in regards to what we're trying to do with this show, we can't just keep complaining, and not even complaining, because I wouldn't say that you and I are complaining. I'd say we're more identifying the problems, but it left me, and I think similar for you, like I just was like, I can't be angry and full of rage all the time. That's not going to make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think that well, when we talked about it in the production meeting leading up to this, I mean, I got the idea from working with you. You seem to be able to make this or keep this positive attitude going into things. And I, more often than not, find myself in this dark state of like permanent homicidal thought at all times. And so like, yeah. And then my community engagement, getting out, traveling the country, talking to these different organizations, all of which, are, give me a tremendous amount of hope and inspiration, but they're also looking for community themselves. They're wondering, are we the only ones out here in Boo-Foo, wherever, that are, outraged and doing this? And so I look at this platform as an opportunity for all of us to come together and network and talk about the success stories from all across the country, give each other some hope. But also identify organizations, like-minded organizations that we can get involved in. Or if you see something that's working, like for instance, Leading Kansas, this organization that that I have participated in several of their events. If you see an organization like that in another community, get in touch with them and create that organization, recreate it in your community. It's going to take all of us to win this fight. And so, I'm excited about this program. I think it's what we need right now.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, I know I feel so much better after connecting and talking with people, even on the days where I'm feeling like exhausted and what's the point? We're apparently going to blow up a civilization and that's going to be the end of everything. And I draw a lot of my positivity from going, oh, no. I know that's what they want us to think. And I want to get out there and actually connect and talk to people and remember what the whole point of life is in the first place. Like, I mean, even seeing Mom Donnie and Obama hanging out with school children and singing Wheels on the Bus, it was like, yes, that's what it's all about. It's being together with each other. And I think somehow, I don't know what your pandemic was like, but it sort of fractured our ability even more so. Like there was already a loneliness epidemic. And so I think it fractured our ability to even understand what it means to be a citizen, what it means to connect with each other and to say like, hey, we've got a bunch of problems we need to solve. And by advocating for the solutions, that's how we come to a solution. It just seems like we've completely forgotten that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I was a cop during the pandemic. I had to go to work every single day. But I was working in this dystopian world where there's no pedestrian traffic, no vehicular traffic. I mean, it was crazy. And now I understand why we have lost the ability to communicate or to do it in a functioning manner. So I think that groups like this, that forums like this are what's needed to bring people together, whether it's in person or online.
So I'm glad that everybody is on this journey with us to fight through the cynicism, because it's people look at me and they go, "Oh, she's positive all the time," and I'm like, "No, I'm actually." And I say this often online, I'm full of rage. It's just I try to convert that rage into positive action. And I think if we stay on track together, and like you said, find those organizations in the different cities, and it doesn't take a ton of time. I think what it is people don't necessarily know how to, because it's not a muscle that we've exercised in forever.
Yeah, no, civic engagement. I mean, in a meaningful way, I think. Well, first of all, we've never faced a threat like this in our lifetimes. I mean, unless you're like really fucking old. And then, that
Or
being
black.
said,
If you're black, you've faced it every day,
yes.
nonstop.
That being said,
Collectively, all of us got it.
people are not. I mean, they're not well versed in how to combat it. And it can seem. I mean, I know it because I feel it all the time. Overwhelming, exhausting, and like insurmountable. And so, you have to kind of like pick and choose, I would say, like how you're going to get involved, and what you can do, how you can be most useful in the moment, and find other organizations or start your own organization if that's something that's in your wheelhouse, to fight back.
But going back to it being fun, because that's also something I've been a huge proponent of. Like, it can't be boring. Like, I was like, yes, please bring bouncy castles to a protest. Like, I want it to be fun. Let's brainstorm a little bit with everybody in the chat. And I'm just going to throw an idea out here. I love pub quizzes. I love trivia. Like, what if it's as simple as starting like a civically minded trivia night in your town, where the questions and answers are things around democracy, and it could be pop culture stuff too. Pub quiz? Anybody? Anyone?
I'll be honest with you, Maya, like if that's your thing, I'm sure there's a lot of way more intelligent people out there that are like, that sounds like a great idea, but that literally sounds like
A nightmare to you?
like to me that and going to a Taylor Swift concert are fucking one and the same.
This makes me very sad, and I hope that there's somebody in the chat who's like, "Oh my God, a board game night or trivia night around democracy sounds like a great idea."
No, I like, yeah. I mean, listen, there's different strokes for different folks, man. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people with sounds like that. That'd be a great idea. But I think the point is to make it fun. I like, I go around the country and I talk to people, and it's usually in like a relatively formal environment, although I try to make it as informal as possible just because of who I am. But I wouldn't want to go to that event. I wouldn't want to go there unless there was like a open bar and I don't know, like taco bar or some good food.
Okay, well, so there's food at trivia, by the way. But okay, I see some people in the chat are like, "Yes," or there's a lot of work. I don't know if anybody has seen. Mike, have you seen the documentary? It's about, I think it's called Bowling Alone, or it's based on the book Bowling Alone. And it's basically, I think it's on Netflix, and it's about how societies where people get together in third spaces, bowling in particular, like bowling leagues, were one of the things that held a community together, and that they have more successful outcomes. So it doesn't even have to be about specifically like democracy. It's just hanging out with people.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we've all like, if there's one thing that this administration and the toxicity of our politics have done is like, we already know who our like-minded community members are. We already know the people that are, very much so pro this administration and those who are not. And so I think creating the groups with like-minded individuals should be relatively easy to do. And then, again, not making the actual event political, making it, like you said, making it fun, doing something fun, creating a group around an event or an activity that people are going to enjoy and do anyways, and then bringing in your friends that already are properly outraged and upset, and then talk about ways, while you're bowling, while you're doing Maya's trivia night, what can you do and how can you organize, and what type of group, how can you make this group useful in the fight against authoritarianism in this country.
Yeah, and this is a great way to trick your apolitical friends into getting involved. They don't know it's going to be a political event. They think they're just going to play ping pong at a ping pong tournament. And then they're like, oh, there's a little booth where I can register to vote. Okay, fine. And it's baby steps. We're baby stepping our way, but fast baby steps. Like it's got to be like a baby on like that somebody gave too much sugar to, because we don't have a lot of time before the midterms, y'all. So I like this brainstorming in the chat. There are no bad ideas in brainstorming.
Just to throw out an idea, the easiest thing that you can do is create a group charged with registering new voters. That is, I think that's probably the most important thing right now with politics being as polarized as they are. Although we're starting to see people, leave the current Republican Party in its state of chaos, disarray, and racist fueled authoritarianism. But that being said, the way you win elections is creating new voters. And so having these organizations that make it fun, that attract people, and inspire civic-minded conversation, that's a great way to attract new voters.
Yeah, which reminds me, this is the first time we're chatting since Orban was ousted in Hungary. And that happened in large part because more voters came out. People participated in the process. And so if Hungary can do it, we can do it too. This coming weekend is the Carnation Revolution commemoration here in Portugal. And if you guys don't know about the Carnation Revolution, they ended their dictatorship peacefully. Like I think only 4 people died. And so not saying that we have a full-on dictatorship, but it's looking like it. So if they can do it, we can do it, and we can learn from each other.
Yeah, agreed. The main takeaway from that for me was they did it. I think it took them 16 years to do it. I don't know. I don't want to take 16 years to do that. But the other aspect of that too is a lot of it had to do with, as do a lot of political movements in Europe. I don't know what they put in the water there, but they have a tremendous amount of youth engagement. And we, for whatever reasons, and we can, probably spend multiple episodes on why today the youth is not politically engaged at the level that we need, or that is deserving, because it's their futures that are that are on the line here. They've got more lives to spend on this earth. More years to spend on this earth. And so
we hope. I want the earth to continue. May the earth continue.
may the earth continue. But we got to figure out a way to engage with younger people, and we've got to break and dismantle the manosphere, and create some type of compassionate, empathetic organizations to counter their hateful, racist, white supremacist ideology.
And we're doing it. So this is day one, y'all. We're gonna make this happen. I don't know if it's gonna be trivia nights or bowling or hanging out on college campuses. What do y'all think about us having some youth organizers on the show for next episode? Maybe I'm just gonna now crowdsource our booking ideas. If you guys should we talk to the youths? We need to talk to the youths.
Yeah, I'm not that old. I feel like I'm, like I could hang.
The kids think we're old, Mike. I hate to tell you, we're old. I don't know how to tell you. My knees hurt, and I'm like, oh, it's because it's gonna rain. Amazing. Sorry. All right. So
No, I'd love to have some younger folks on and ask them what the fuck is wrong with you.
I don't think that's the approach that we should take, but we can play good cop, bad cop, good. You actually, okay, that's weird. Did you ever play good cop, bad? Okay. Anyway, losing focus. Y'all, we're gonna talk to the youths. Maybe not next week, but soon. I'm sure our producers right now are like, "Well, great, Maya, we don't have a youth yet, but I think we should talk to the youths." And
we'll drag one of those little motherfuckers in here.
The two youths. Okay. All right. Enough from me. Enough from us. Thank you so much for joining us for our inaugural The Revolution. Yay. 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 Will, I thought you were going to yay with me, Mike. Now I just feel like a nerd. Yay.
I'll say that this is my yay. I'm incredibly grateful every opportunity that I get to work with Maya May. That's my yay. So I would do a podcast that was called like The End of the World is Inevitable and We're All Gonna Die with Maya May. Like I really do, I'm humbled to have the opportunity. So thank you for that.
Stop. You're an American hero. I want to be in the bunker with you at the end. I'm going to make everybody laugh in the bunker. I promise. There's not going to be a bunker, guys. We're going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. Okay. That was a joke. I'm kidding. All right. We'll see you next Thursday. We'll see you next week. All right. Thanks.